congratulations. I have a question regarding the content. Is it proprietary, like every university or educational institution that contracts or provides the content, is it reserved for it, or is it open to the public?
It is open, although it will be a curated set of content that we bring onto the platform. We have an efficacy cycle that we have all of our content go through to ensure that it actually improves learning. And so there will be it won't be open for the public, but there'll be a curated relationship with either instructors, with content experts, with content owners. For example, textbook companies could be developing on our platform. Anybody who has content or who has an idea that they want to explore in virtual space.
Okay, in such case, then the market potential is much larger, right?
Yes.
Because you can sell courses online on a global level.
Yes, and one of the things about the higher education market in general is that there are key drivers in almost every school we visit to reduce the cost of education for the students. One of the ways that schools are investigating doing that and spending time and energy doing that is removing textbooks. And so they are creating ebooks, and there are companies being started to try to replace those textbooks with lower cost alternatives. And so we see virtual reality as a tool that can be very disruptive in that space, and also more effective than a textbook.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
It was really nice, but I would like to be a little bit more traditional regarding the students. I like the student society, all this social interaction they have inside the classroom, exchanging ideas and things like that. But I would like to give you some food for thought,
Please.
for thinking. It would really be innovative to build something VR for youngsters needing help with things like ergotherapy, logotherapy, things like that, which are individuals and they want guidance. So I think something on this VR program, I think would be really not just innovative, probably revolutionary as well.
Yeah, there's really a couple of groups of content that are being created, and some people call virtual reality the empathy machine. That it's an ideal environment to teach empathy and to interact with people in ways that feel much safer. One of the interesting studies that we did was looking at. I will tell you about this study later, and how students were willing to be wrong in VR versus otherwise.
I'm okay, there's no.
Okay, great.
But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have, please welcome Jalander Anna.
Check. Hi guys, my name is Gyanendra Khanna. I'm founder and CEO of Quickly. Before we get started, Dan, can I ask you a quick question? Can you name a physical athlete for me?
Usain Bolt.
Perfect. Can you name a brain champion or a brain athlete for me?
Does chess count?
Yeah, it does, and that's usually where people will go. I don't know, Fisher or somebody.
Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, well done, first of all. Most people cannot name a brain athlete. That's what we want to change. We're building a first-of-a-kind, multiplayer cognitive game where brain champions will have a chance to become superstars. So, as mentioned, we want to celebrate brain athletes like we do physical athletes. Michael Jordan took basketball to another level. Serena Williams elevated tennis. We believe if we create icons in brain athletics, they will inspire everybody to learn more and sharpen their minds. The approach we're taking, an esports platform where brain champions can shine and be celebrated. They'll come in, anybody can do this. They come in, they learn, sharpen their skills, compete on a global level, and then have a chance to win real money and tickets to championships and beyond. A couple of our screens, we have a variety of questions that cater to cognitive skills, knowledge topics, and you can see the game as well. It's available on iOS and Android soon. A little bit about the market. The International Mind Sports Association predicts over 500 million players engage in mind sports. These games and shows repeatedly attract millions of viewers over and over, time tested. Mental Samurai launched last year, had 2 million concurrent viewers. This is a 2019 show, again, re-attracting massive audience. This translates to a $31 billion game-based learning market and a $6 billion cognitive skills market. Both are expected to double in the next 3 years, according to Business Wire and Ambient Insights. And the data we collect behind the scenes allows us to move towards digital education using machine learning on all the data that's collected. I don't go too much into that right now because our focus is making an epic game, and that's our focus. Competitive landscape. You have games like Lumosity, Elevate that focus on cognitive skills and a little bit of math and English. You have shows like Mental Samurai and HQ, which was a mobile version. They focus on trivia. And we want to combine all of that into an amazing mobile experience built around cognitive performance. Our team, myself, I love creating games since I was a young kid, out of cards, dice, everything. We have a teacher who leads our content, our head of tech, over 20 years of computer science experience with solution architecture, and our chief UX officer, who also has 7+ years in design and UX background. Our broader team has game developers on it. We have a principal on our advisory board. We have a curriculum developer who keeps us in tune with what's going on in education. We've had about 20,000 users signed up, 5,000 playing monthly and about 1,000 weekly, and our session length and retention have both gone up by over 30% approximately last quarter. We do a lot of test and learn. We ask a lot of questions. These are a bit detailed. In the interest of time, I won't go into it, but if you guys want to know more about what we've learned about our users and our audience so far, happy to chat after this. And this leads to our next set of experiments. We're going to be running small mini contests, across pub trivia, across quiz competitions that already happen, places where the audience that would like our kind of game would already be there. And we're going to see what kind of response we get from the next set of tests. Our go-to-market is pub trivia, cognitive competitions, and universities and schools. Thank you.
Just real quick, what's the monetization strategy?
Thank you for asking. So our revenue will come through 2 angles. One is the entertainment side of things. As I mentioned in the start, we want to celebrate brain athletics. We want to make this into an entertainment spectacle. People come and watch you. So sponsorships, merchandise, any type of ads that go with an entertainment entity, like UFC came from nothing into a $3-4 billion enterprise. Similarly, we want to approach entertainment. On the flip side, in our app itself, we will have content expansion tracks. So like you buy textbooks for, or maybe later on no more textbooks, but like you buy those for tests and exams, we have mini content expansion packs. They're more digestible content. So as we show you your cognitive profile, if you're great at math but not so good at English, because we can show you that through our data, then you can buy content expansion packs that can help you improve in that, and that's all paid as well.
Hi, Hannah. So I actually learned this week from an expert in this field that the game industry, as it is today, the cost of acquisition, the cost of customer acquisition is really, really high. So you have to invest a lot of money in digital marketing to even appear, because as you can see, the landscape is really big. And you see how Elevate is spending crazy amount of money on this. So I wonder if you can have a more of a competitive edge that will help you spread out. And I'm thinking, how can you implement the social aspect to it? Perhaps those people who compete with each other in a cognitive game, one of every 1,000 player can win $5,000 or something, right? Like they compete with each other, that makes it more addictive. I don't know, like if you can implement some sort of social aspect to it, be different. But for now, I think you will need a lot of money to even appear in the.
Right, so the way we're approaching it is exactly what you said. It's actually mass multiplayer gaming. So imagine every day, 4 p.m., midnight, players from all over the world come in, compete for real money. And the goal is that they can put their high school stamp on there, put their university stamp, so that now they can get their students and friends to follow them and watch them.
You mentioned this in your presentation? I thought I came up with it.
Yeah. no, but it's still, it's a great thought, and that's the way.
A good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. Yeah.
Is there any specific age group that you guys are targeting?
Not immediately targeting, we left it agnostic because the research of Lumosity and Elevate, what it showed us is that the type of demographic that plays this is quite broad, but it's more psychographic specific. So if you like puzzle, Sudoku, crossword, you have to be somewhat inclined to be interested in that space. So we left it demographic agnostic. What we are seeing, our primary best users, let's call them, are 18 to 34-year-old females so far. Yeah, for whatever reason, that's what it is. So we'll keep learning and maybe cater to it if we see one specific demographic taking over, but so far, not yet, not being specific yet.
How easy or difficult would it be for your competition to level up to your value proposition? And what is your monetization status as of today?
So I'll go backwards in that we are pre-revenue. We plan monetization status, you asked, right? Yeah, so we're pre-revenue. We'll be launching revenue in about 3 months, which will start with content expansion packs and some premium features in our game. On to your earlier question on competitive advantage, so we are looking into some provisional patents that can help us protect ourselves a little bit, and beyond that, it'll be a matter of the network effect we can create. So to the earlier question, the more we can create social clusters and get people to follow other people, so that like the network effect, that would be our defensibility. Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes.
Please.
Yes, I've two questions. How you take into consideration cultural differences around the world, linguistic differences, people in Europe learn different things to people in America. And secondly, how would you recommend getting my son off of Fortnite?
Yeah. Well, that's like a great question. Starting with the first one, we will approach the specific cultural differences later. We wanted to start with a focus, and what we decided was let's focus on what is universal. So our content has a knowledge category and a skills category, and the idea is that everything we ask and all the questions, they're more universal knowledge. Math, science, English we chose as a language because again we believe that's the international language right now. I agree that India, China, there are advantages to knowing the languages there, but right now we went with English as the international language. Over time, we would like to cater to cultures, get the experts from specific locations, let them tell us what is the right way to maybe teach in that area or what would people care about. But for now, we want to keep it universal. We want to take stepping stones towards like a brain Olympics of sort, right? So you come and represent your country in these mass competitions, you have money to be won, and if you're not actually participating, maybe you just want to watch it because we want to make that culture around it, and hopefully that gets your son off Fortnite as well.
Thank you, John. Any feedback?
I think, like everything in the beginning, it's a chicken and egg with monetization when you don't have enough users. But I do think something that you could probably show that, doesn't cost any money is show the pace of your user acquisition, if it's organic or did you acquire it, as well as more importantly, the churn. So if the churn is low, you may be able to convince someone to take a bet in you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's a great pitch overall, and I'm really glad you covered like a lot of aspects of the product. And I'm really interested in seeing like whether there's a possibility to explore, like user created, like having a developer community that have like upload their own games, and also like another part I feel like it's a little bit missing in a pitch is that you didn't really tell us how fun the game is, because most of the competitors you listed, I've used them and I gave up after 3 days because they're just not fun enough for me. And to get that gentleman's son like off Fortnite, you really need to be fun.
Yeah, no, very valid. I have points, but I want to answer in the interest of feedback time, but I would like to talk later. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking forward for the launch so that my kid doesn't get to Fortnite yet.
I think that you have to find a way to be addictive on an effective way, an efficient way for the users. So that's like me and the previous guy back there, to be happy for our children to use your game. And probably I'm downloading it later to use it as well.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you. Let us know how it is. Feedback, so appreciate it.
So, like I said, it's a very competitive landscape, so it's really hard for me to judge without actually trying the game, playing the game. So, all the best.
Yeah, thank you. So I do have 2 minutes. Can I take like 30 seconds to say something?
Sure.
Yeah, I won't take long. Thank you for all the feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. We're not at a stage where we're showing that we're the most addictive game yet, or whatever. But our retention numbers are moving up, our session length is moving up, and we do have that in our story as well. And so we're looking for investors who are who want to help bring esports and education together, because esports is focused so much on different types of games, first-person shooters, and different kind of games like that, and we want to bring that wave into a productive topic. So anybody interested in that kind of an angle, early stage investor for sure, please do come talk to me. We're looking for $600,000 as our pre-seed round. We have raised $100K last year, which allowed us to speed up things, and now we want to take it to the next level with viewership of the competitions. As much as it's a player-centric thing, we want to make viewership really exciting as well. So thank you for your time, guys.
Please welcome next Florian Schrenkfurt from Coro Handles.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Florian. I'm here to tell you about our D2C food brand from Germany, Coro. And I know what you're thinking, food is not sexy, and e-commerce is also kind of out, D2C is boring. So, to spice it up a bit and not send everyone to sleep, I'm going to show you our revenue numbers first. We are right now at 13 million in revenue, and that's organic growth. So 100% a year so far in the last 4 years. So we are currently aiming at 100 million in the next 3 years, and we'll achieve this by internationalization. That's why you're here in the United States, find investors to fund us. So, but back to the main topic of this talk. It's actually about the market, the online grocery market. And the online grocery market has a few key trends that I will not go into detail, but 2 of them being a higher willingness to pay for high quality food, and the second one, a higher awareness for sustainability and packaging topics, especially is packaging waste. So those are the key topics we are passionate about at Coro. The market itself is a $36 billion market globally, and it's growing at a 20% CAGR, so it's really huge and fast growing. That will give us a $5.2 billion serviceable and attainable market by 2023. Right now, the key problem in the market for online groceries is that people try to just copy the offline approach to online, just taking the packaging size that we have in offline stores, putting them online, and that leads to high picking costs, low margins, high prices for customers, and a lot of packaging waste. We have a better approach. We basically base our approach on 5 core pillars. The first of one being technological leadership. We employ an AI-enabled sourcing to basically bring down the cost for sourcing new products, scaling new products, and finding new products efficiently. We set on deep vertical integration. That means we follow the B2B approach and basically source in the country of origin, combined with a bulk packaging approach, which allows us to package and label all of our products directly in the country of origin. We save 10 to 20% compared to our competitors on the final pricing already. 12% of packaging of the price of a product is packaging in offline retail. We focus on healthy, long-lasting, non-perishable food, which also gives us a competitive advantage because we don't have to deal with complex food logistics. And in the end, the social-first brand approach enables us to build an engaging community and basically really activate the interesting targeting foodies. Look at our competitive summary. We have a few competitive advantages that come out of that. First of all, we have really attractive margins. It's a 47% gross margin, and we are operating at break even right now. We have a really interesting target group and a real clear differentiation. We have really young people, like 18 to 40 years old, with a high willingness to pay. We have an engaging brand. We have an NPS of more than 80. We have more than 70,000 Instagram followers. That's a lot for Germany, not for here, I know. We save 60% on packaging waste, so that's also amazing. And the last one, we are really highly scalable. We can scale to 3 countries in a year and 10 to 20 new products within a month. That's actually quite a lot if you know about supply chain logistics. So, who are we? We are actually 2 founders, Konstantinos and Piran, who is here with me today, and have been building this from ground in the last 4 years. I just joined the management team by the end of this year, so last year, And I've experienced before, I've one exit on my agenda. I co-founded an accelerator in Germany, and I also worked at Rocket Internet, Europe's most infamous company builder. We have a strong advisory board, among others, the founder and CEO of Germany's leading media group, so quite a good background as well. And we are right now looking for 5 million raise to basically fuel our international expansion. And we think we have a quite strong value proposition, we have good numbers, and we really want to take this internationally and copy our approach to the United States. Thank you.
Did you have any of your superfood before? You haven't stopped walking around.
A little bit nervous, sorry.
How are we sure that something that is not packaged, that we buy, that it's total fresh, that it doesn't have any issues by expiry date, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, as we only focus on long-lasting, non-perishable foods, it's actually quite easy. We take pictures and make sure that everything we have is online visible. So the big advantage of online retail is you can show everything on the product detail page. So we publicly make available product specification, expiry dates, and everything like that. So basically, the customer knows exactly what he or she is buying before we actually sell it. And we have a very short turnaround time for our inventory because we have those kind of bulk packaging, which enables us to source very quickly. We can just order stuff and it's there in 2 days. For offline retail, that's much harder because you need to do all the labeling, repackaging, and stuff like that. So actually, we never have any issues with basically food that might get old.
Florian, can you go back to your sales slide?
Yes, that's in the beginning, unfortunately.
I think it's the second one. Cool. You have 47% gross margin?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you,
because we save like 10 to 20% on the packaging and on basically skipping all the intermediaries in the supply chain.
Yeah.
Because they take another cut of like 50
okay,
to 20%.
here's what I'm curious. Like, if you take this to other countries, can you sustain the same model?
Yes, we can. We have done this in Europe so far. We have been active in 7 countries so far in Europe.
Okay.
And we have shown that it works.
And how many warehouses do you have?
1 so far.
Okay.
But we're going to expand that soon.
Alright. So the US would work, but countries like I'm thinking of the Middle East wouldn't work because multiple countries and multiple warehouses.
It's more complex, definitely.
Okay. Cool.
Good luck. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Okay.
Yeah, last question. But why the US? Why not Canada?
It's actually another market we're looking at, honestly, but we feel
It's
like
not a market you're looking
it's
at?
not a market we're looking at right
Why
now.
is that?
Because like we look for a market where there's a high willingness to pay for our quality food, and also there's like the competition is attractive, where we also see the potential for basically that kind of food we are offering, so really the high quality end of things. I mean, honestly, that Canada would also be interesting for us. We're also looking at Asia, for example. But the United States is really interesting also because we see the success of some companies like Thrive Market, for example, that are double the price that we have. And we think there's a huge market to be disrupted, and Thrive Market has been collecting 160 million in funding. So with a wealthy US investor, I think it might be really nice to check out. Yes, Mike.
So if a big retail store here in the US, let's say Whole Foods, come to you and say, we're going to put you in all our stores, but you're going to have to cut your margin.
Yeah, we do that actually. We are listed in a few retail stores, like 1,500 all over Germany right now. We do this for branding purposes. So we do that and we cut our margin to 20%. We basically get them to list our products, and then this goes back to our e-commerce store. So that actually boosted sales quite well in Germany. So we are going to do the same everywhere else.
20% is not bad.
It's okay still, yeah.
Why not consolidate yourself in Europe, become market leaders, and with the revenues you have in Europe, you enter the American market without having to look for an investor?
I mean, in general, like even if we stay in Europe, we would still look for an investor. We're also talking to German VCs because we think it's really essential to build a strong brand and get like everywhere before competition does. So the US market and the US investor, we're really looking for the US investor because we think having some international experience on board will help us to scale nationally, whether it is today, tomorrow, or in 2 years. So we're not 100% or set on going to the US tomorrow. That's what I can say.
I think it's really impressive that you guys were able to maintain that growth throughout, just 2017 all the way through 2019. You guys are pretty well positioned to raise a Series A with $6 million in revenue. Maybe because this isn't my area of expertise, but maybe the story that you can, or the narrative that you can give in your pitch is, how did you guys win the Europe market? And is that a repeatable process in America when there's Instacart, there's all these other players? Like, will you see a rise in user acquisition, or can you maintain that same expansion? Thanks.
The same thing as Joey just said, I would love to hear more about your marketing strategy and like new market. And also maybe there's potential to explore other categories of food, because I personally is not an enthusiast of superfood, so yeah, maybe you guys can explore other more categories, yeah.
Thanks.
I want to congratulate you for the improvements you did since yesterday, because we saw the same presentation and you actually adopted all the recommendations and improved the presentation, so good luck to you. Looks very healthy in all means.
You were so good today that I want to see you after okay.
Happy to. I agree with the earlier comments from Ronnie about focusing on Europe. I feel like, so in 2019 you made $6 million revenue in Europe. You still have a lot of room to grow. Why are you coming to a new market? Why wouldn't you focus in Europe? It's a big market. You still have room to grow. Also, I think 47% gross margin is way too greedy. I would be in more channels and just drop the margin. I would distribute the product in more channels, and even other website, other e-commerce website, other venues. 20% margin is not bad, but I would focus on growth on the top line of the P&L. I think there's a room to grow in Europe. Thanks a lot.
It's obvious they're young and risky. They want to travel.
That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Next with his speech will be Batu Saad and More Like You.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, I'm Batu, co-founder and CEO of OnLikeYou, and we are empowering banking, payment, and loyalty apps to monetize offline purchase intent. We already serve 10 million monthly active users and process over 5 billion monthly location calls. And we have a great set of customers from banking, payments, loyalty and retail space, including BNP Paribas Bank and Samsung. The reason Amazon is winning is dominating the online purchase intent. And it's monetizing their position as the gatekeeper of this data. But there are $4 trillion of purchases in the physical world. And most of them are concentrated in shopping malls and downtown districts where stores are close to each other and retailers have competition. So on average, US customers have 4 credit cards in their wallet. But with the emergence of neobanks and mobile payment platforms, they have even more ways to pay. But this means they're completely blind to purchases made on other platforms. If you don't use that payment platform, they don't get the valuable transaction data and they don't make any money. So the competition is at all-time high. So let me draw an analogy between online and offline. In the online world, you explicitly tell what you're looking for to Google and Amazon, and brands bid for your attention. In the physical world, we do the same thing. We know you're in a shopping mall, you're spending quality time in a sports goods store, and we empower the apps that are already in your phone that you opted in to engage you with relevant offers at the right time and location. The reason getting offline purchase intent data is hard, because GPS doesn't work indoors, and it's not feasible to place beacons and hardware to all the stores. This is where MobileIQ comes in. This is usually an animation. So we have an indoor location technology that is store level accurate and does not require any hardware. So we are infinitely more scalable than any hardware solution like beacons or cameras and Wi-Fi trackers. So we understand the purchase intent by understanding how many minutes you spend in each store before you make a purchase. We have a mobile SDK that easily integrates into banking, payment, loyalty apps, and we generate 10 times more data than the transaction data they have without any personally identifiable information. With this data, they can understand their customers' offline journey and engage them at the right time and location. And we essentially generate a system where they can do anonymous personalization at scale. And we also looked at how this impacts the impact of delivering at the right time and location. We've seen notification to click 20 times better than geofencing, and notification to purchase more than 4 times better than the best breed of segmentation based on the previous purchases. It's a large and more importantly growing market, and we are the team to deliver it. We're 2 co-founders with PhDs in electrical engineering, experts in machine learning and indoor location technologies. Between each other, we have 30 years of experience in the field, and we have a team of 15 experienced in credit card processing, telco, loyalty, and even mobile app development for banks. We are well positioned in the competitive and collaborative space, and to recap, we're exploiting a highly competitive and market of mobile payments. We have an indoor location technology that is scalable and accurate. We don't change any workflow in how these mobile apps work, and we don't ask for any personally identifiable information like these other big guys. Thanks. Any questions?
Can you explain a little bit more how the tracking and attribution works? Like, I understand the SDK that's in the mobile device, but what about how do you know when I'm browsing around who I am and link that to when I have a credit card transaction?
So we don't need to know who you are, but we can cluster you. So we enable shopping areas like shopping malls and high streets and downtown districts. We map out all the stores, and from the signals that are ambient, we understand which floor you're in, which corridor, and which store. And we already have a database of understanding what category of